Greetings, I am Toglin, Hell's Harlequin, but you may call me Tog. Today, my video is going to be on more of a personal matter. A few months back, I admitted that I suffer from both bipolar disorder as well as borderline personality disorder. I don't know whether or not I mentioned, but I also suffer from generalized anxiety, but given the nature of the other two disorders, that's almost a given. As I have mentioned previously, borderline personality disorder has a monstrous stigma behind it. For quite some time now, there's been videos that perpetuate the negative stigma of the borderline, as well as spread false information. Most of those videos were quite old with a low approval rating, so I mostly just chose to ignore them.
Big concerns grow from small concerns. You plant them, water them with tears, fertilize them with unconcern. If you ignore them, they grow.
Lo and behold, there is an ever-growing community of those who wish to paint all borderlines as villains. These videos have decent amount of views, as well as high approval ratings. So this video acts as a torchlight to expose this colony of roaches before they infest and cause real harm to those with a severe mental condition.
Hi again, everyone. This video is sponsored by contribution from Nancy Beth.
At the beginning of the video, he reads a letter that advises him to watch a documentary on borderline personality disorder. I've seen this documentary. It's not really my cup of tea. I prefer my documentaries like my gin, dry and British. But he was not overly pleased with it either, and for different reasons. Most of his videos a mad rant full of misinformation. I'm going to skip to the heart of it.
Because what is in that video? What is going on is they are trying to make the borderline the victim.
Well, yeah. Borderline is a serious mental illness that causes a great deal of suffering and a high suicide rate. A great deal of borderlines are comorbid with PTSD, meaning that they have both.
You can see it on these bitches' faces as they're sucking up the supply, telling about their hurt, their pain, their misery, their cutting, their issues.
Why, it is no matter, man. If they did hear, they would not mark me, or if they did mark, they would not pity me.
How many is these poor monsters sitting on a couch looking for sympathy as they're talking about their pain? How many destroyed lives are they responsible for?
My lovely viewers, if you are confused at this point, don't worry, so am I. What a strange question. It's almost the same as saying, how many lives have blue-eyed people ruined?
No one knows what it's like to be the bad man, to be the sad man behind blue eyes.
Is admitting to the fucking manipulation that they've done. That the manipulation they've done has hurt people. Oh, they'll admit to it at the end of the video that they can manipulate. But they don't admit to the damage they ever fucking cause.
I'm gonna go ahead and show you the clip from the documentary for context.
I'm able to see this now. We can be a little manipulative. We could say to therapists what we want to say. Painting your own picture, because I think we have in our minds what people want to hear, and it's sometimes a different reality.
Not all borderlines are manipulative. It's not even part of the diagnostic criteria.
And these borderline recovery channels, okay, it's not a this, it's not a that, we're not animals, we're not monsters, they're all way up there. Really. And then you look through the fucking comments on these things. Oh, it's sickening. It is absolutely sickening.
One of the comments on your video say that borderline should be euthanized.
Because eventually it's going to get to a point where they're going to have to deal with channels like mine and others.
I will annihilate you down to your every last cell.
Okay, the channels that call out these fucking narcissistic borderlines.
This is the biggest piece of misinformation that this channel, as well as others like it, spread about borderline. They are trying to convince the general public that borderline and narcissism are the same diagnosis. They're not. They have very different diagnostic criteria. Let's look at the actual diagnostic criteria for borderline as well as narcissistic personality disorders. Frantic efforts to avoid real or imagined abandonment. A pattern of unstable and intense interpersonal relationships characterized by alternating between extremes of idealization and devaluation. Identity disturbance, markedly and persistent unstable self-image or sense of self. Impulsivity in at least 2 areas that are potentially self-damaging. Recurrent suicidal behaviors, gestures, threats, or self-mutilating behavior. Affective instability due to a marked reactivity of mood, e.g. intense episodes of dysphoria, irritability, anxiety, usually lasting for a few hours and rarely more than a few days. Chronic feelings of emptiness, inappropriate anger or difficulty controlling rage. Transient, stress-related paranoid ideation or severe dissociative symptoms. That was borderline. Now let's take a look at narcissist. Has a grandiose sense of self-importance, is preoccupied with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love, believes that he or she is special and unique, requires excessive admiration, has a strong sense of entitlement, is exploitative of others, lacks empathy, is often envious of others, regularly shows arrogant, haughty behaviors or attitudes. Another big piece of misinformation these channels try to propagate. They will use the term cluster B as one personality disorder, despite the fact that there is 4 separate personality disorders in cluster B: borderlines, narcissists, antisocials, otherwise known as sociopaths, and histrionics. What cluster Bs have in common is that they're all considered unstable and potentially dangerous. Borderline stands out from the other cluster Bs because borderline's biggest danger is to themselves rather than other people.
They're not victims. They are monsters. I will walk into any one of these fucking talks that they're having, any convention, any doctor who speaks on, any therapist, doctor, psychologist, I don't give a fuck who it is. Who it is working with these people, and I will fucking run circles around them.
Interesting claim, considering that you haven't presented any evidence other than screaming like a howler monkey.
Judging personalities happens to be my business.
Wow, well, how is this any different? Okay, how is it any different now you admitting to borderline personality disorder? Oh, look at me now, I'm admitting to borderline personality disorder. Okay, whereas before you were just a narcissistic, manipulative, using scumbag to be the center of attention.
Most borderlines are the opposite of narcissists. We have very low self-esteem for the most part. A history of substance abuse isn't uncommon for borderlines. However, you do not have to have one to be diagnosed with borderline. I have no history of substance abuse, but I do have a history of eating disorders. It just has to be a history of self-destructive behaviors.
I will out-debate any of you. Any of you. Any doctor, any psychologist, any therapist, anyone who studied, I don't give a fuck. 0 fucks given. I will run circles around you. I will take you on 5-on-1 in a debate. How about that? And I will run circles around all of you.
Oh, really? Now, presuming you're not just posturing for your subscribers, I will take you up on that challenge. And I can do it by myself, unless of course you want this to be a formal debate, in which we will have a neutral moderator. I would be willing to do either a formal debate or a civil discussion. My personal stipulations for accepting this challenge is that we must abide by the rules of common courtesy, no yelling, and no interrupting.
These people are monsters. And they need to be told that everywhere you see it, everywhere you see them trying to make it into, normalize it, make it into like it's something that they're victims of it. It's a choice. They choose to act that way. They chose to act that way because they liked it, because they benefited from it.
I'm really not sure if I should start laughing or crying. You think people choose to have a mental illness?
The universe is already mad. Anything else would be redundant.
Doctors. And listen, I got plenty of doctors and therapists that subscribe to me, and I know they subscribe other places. And I have plenty of subscribers who tell me, They've brought me up to their therapist, and now their therapist recommends me to other people.
Well, you do seem like an interesting case study in the Donning-Kruger effect.
That abomination is in the description box. It'll be the 4th link under my Facebook. So check it out. Drink something, smoke something first, and watch the poor borderlines booty hooty hoo.
So he accused old borderlines of being junkies, then he recommends to his subscribers to drink or smoke something. How very interesting. I just had to keep that last part in. Sorry it's so chopped up. He had 22 minutes of video. Most of it was dead air, or just raving like a lunatic about nothing. So I tried to cut it down to his various points. I will leave his original video in the description box in case you want to subject yourself to that. I'll also link the documentary because it's available on YouTube, in case you're curious. I'm very eager to see if he'll watch my video and take me up for my challenge. That would be entertaining. Well, anyways, let me know what you think in the description down below, and I wish all of you a pleasant rest of your day.